angry locals in Hull, where basically a former hotel which housed illegal migrants, is being turned into a huge HMO. Now, a lot of people have said to me in the past, is this how the government is going to get around closing down migrant hotels and getting people out of them? They're just going to change the use of the actual building and make it an HMO, which means a house of multiple occupancy. This one would have 122 bedrooms. A bit more than a house, really. But Julia, very good morning to you.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Great story, this. There is a fear, isn't there, that this is what the government is going to do in an awful lot of these migrant hotel situations. They could do it in Epping, for example, with the Bell Hotel. They could do it in lots of places where they literally just buy the property and turn it into a block of flats.
Well, in this case, it's not the government that bought the property. It's a private company which is converting it, and it is. I think we should say the Home Office have told us that them and their contractors in the region don't have any actual plans at the moment for this specific hotel. But what locals told us is that they're concerned that this hotel is going to be turned into a HMO. So it's going to be, it kind of looks like the pictures of what the company says it's going to look like. It kind of looks like student rooms, kind of small studios, and then also shared kitchens, shared laundry facilities.
Right.
And locals have told us that that will then enable it in the future. It could possibly then be turned into asylum accommodation.
Right, because that is the thing, isn't it? I mean, it's all very well saying, oh, we've got no plans to do that, and this might not happen yet, and the government might not be involved, but in the end, it all kind of moves in one particular direction, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I guess the issue that Labour are facing at the moment is that they have to close the hotels, they have to get people out of those hotels. And where do you put them? So they've hinted towards reopening military bases, disused military bases. That's really expensive to turn a old military base and all the problems that come with it into asylum accommodation. As they've seen, they've scrapped the plan to convert RAF Scrampton, and because they said it wasn't value for money. That was one of the things they did when they came into government. Now they're looking again at it and saying that might also be an option. But yeah, so these HMOs, we've reported in the past about councils sending out letters,
right,
desperately asking landlords to have that accommodation as asylum accommodation. So yeah, I guess people are worried that people are going to be moved out of hotels and straight into these converted houses.
Yes, because one of the things that we talked about a couple of weeks ago was when it became clear that there's something like 180,000 migrants that have come illegally on small boats since around about 2019, 2020. There's only about 32,000 of them, I think, in my reckoning, who are actually still in hotels. So all the others are presumably in HMOs up and down the country.
Yeah, I think it's something like 66,000 that are already in different accommodation, whether that's converted flats or other accommodation. So actually the proportion of people that are in hotels at the moment is lower than people who are already in this sort of accommodation.
Right. And as far as the planning permission for this particular one, the Portland Hotel, there's an application has gone through, but it's been deferred until next month because some people have asked questions about crime issues.
Yes, so this planning permission has been delayed, and actually it was the police have raised the issue that if people live in these cramped conditions, and they live kind of on top of one another in places like this, and the police have said they do see crime rates go up. So that's the police saying that. That's not just concerned locals.
Right. Because we saw another story this morning in the Telegraph where 200 different migrants are actually suing the government because of the conditions that they were forced to endure in Manston, which is like the holding detention centre, if you like, or processing centre, I think they call it, down in Kent. So when they first get taken off the boats in Dover, that's where they go. So I guess the other problem here for the government is if that catches on, suddenly they'll all be suing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you remember it was 2022, and it was when Suella Braverman was our Home Secretary. There was outbreaks of diphtheria, there was scabies at Manston, there were people sleeping in tents. A man died after contracting diphtheria there as well. And so when people are processed through Manston, which is where all small boat migrants are taken when they first arrive in the country, when they're first picked up, they're legally only supposed to be there for 24 hours. And we know that actually on quiet days, people can get through in about 3 hours. That's why they have their initial asylum interviews. It's where they say, hi, I want to claim asylum. And then they get bussed off and they get taken into hotel accommodation. What was happening at Manston, people were staying there for months. and they were sleeping in tents on it's cold and things like that. So, and there's a government inquiry ongoing, which started in February into what happened in Manston in 2022. But yeah, as in our paper today as well, they could be in line for millions in compensation because of what happened there.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Incredible stuff. Also, got a bit of breaking news for you. French have said that 3 migrants have died and others are missing, according to French authorities, after trying to cross the Channel. Migrant attempts last night off the coast of the Pas de Calais. So we had 1 death yesterday, another possible 3, if not a larger number today. It's not been a great first week, really, has it, for Shabana Mahmood?
No, and especially, I mean, what was really shocking from the deaths today is that they think that they were crushing injuries. So this is kind of an overloaded boat, and actually 2 of them might also be children as well. We've heard this morning. So because I guess you would think it would be the safer thing to do to put women and children in the centre of a boat, but when they're so flimsy, people are actually getting crushed in the middle, and that's only happened in the last couple of years. People aren't a lot of these deaths in the Channel, they're not people drowning. They're people being crushed because people are shoving and throwing people onto these boats. But as you say, so Shabana Mahmood only became homosexual on Friday, and then on Saturday we had 1,000 people cross the Channel on small boats. So a bit of a baptism of fire for her. And then, as you say, we had someone die in the Channel yesterday, a woman, and these 3 deaths and 3 missing today. There was also a strange report yesterday that there was a boat which had landed in an uncontrolled landing in Kent. Right. Which your listeners might have seen. So essentially, the border force and the police were called, and they found people on the beach in Kent, and 6 people were then taken by border force. 5 people, sorry. And at the moment, we don't know whether they could have actually been trying to leave the UK and smuggle themselves out, or they could have arrived, which would be quite extraordinary given the amount of tech and money that the UK government spends patrolling the Channel, and all the radar and all of the drones, for example. For someone to have got through that on a very busy day on Saturday when it was saying more than 1,000 people arrived would be pretty extraordinary.
And this is the thing, I mean, they say it's the first one in 3 years, but they may not know that there are others that arrive just without them knowing. I mean, I've certainly spoken to people, because I'm down there quite a lot, who have seen boats landing in all kinds of places, all the way along, from Dungeness all the way along to sort of Camber, and it's all very flat, and you can put a boat in there anywhere, and people just jump out and run into the local town.
Yeah, as you say, this is the first one in 3 years, if it does turn out to be a boat which has arrived from France. The first one in 3 years that we know about. And as you say, it's such a vast stretch of coastline, and we don't have people patrolling it. There aren't police out there every morning, for example. So, yeah, we just wouldn't know.
No, absolutely. A great story, Julia. Anyway, thank you very much indeed. Julia Atherley there, Home Affairs correspondent with The Sun, on a story from Hull, where a former hotel, the Portland Hotel, a 4-star attraction when it opened in the 1960s, is currently sitting empty, but there's an application going in from a private company to turn it into the largest multiple occupancy house in the UK, with 122 bedrooms. It hasn't actually happened yet, but again, something that we warned that would happen, because there's no room for every single migrant in a hotel currently to be put into a house in Britain. So they'll have to do something like this as a kind of a way around it, whereby they keep them in hotels. They just change the name of the hotel, they change the nature of the business, and they make it impossible for anybody else to obviously use that property. What an absolute shambles it all is.